They're some of the most profitable and powerful companies in the world.
Safety is built into everything we do.
As a mother, this is personal.
Double talk, double talk.
Social media is now part of our everyday lives.
How many more kids,
Like Olivia,
will suffer and die because of social media?
And then you gave users two choices: get resources or see results anyway.
As policymakers in Washington hold an emotional hearing,
Mr. Zuckerberg, what the hell were you thinking?
we examine the efforts coming to Texas, speaking with one who argues these products are not for children.
We cannot simply shirk from our responsibilities just because a task is difficult.
And then we turn to the budget and border battle.
If the bill's not going to be a great bill and really solve the problem, I wouldn't do it at all.
What projects may die while voters wait for an agreement. That and much more right now on Lone Star Politics.
This is Lone Star Politics from NBC5 and the Dallas Morning News.
Good Sunday morning. I'm Phil Prazen from NBC5.
And I'm Gromer Jeffers, political writer with the Dallas Morning News. Lawmakers are looking into big names in social media over concerns that the platforms are putting children in harm's way.
This morning, we're looking at whether Texas should ban or put limits on kids using social media. On Capitol Hill, angry lawmakers told the CEOs of Meta, TikTok, Discord, and X that their platforms are frequently used by people who sell drugs to teenagers and by people who exploit children online. In the gallery, child safety advocates and families holding pictures of children they say were negatively affected, some dying, they say, by what happens online. The CEOs said they have already taken steps to protect young users, but lawmakers were skeptical they've done enough.
Riley died on March 30th, 2021, when he was a victim of sexploitation on Facebook's Messenger app.
A man outside of our state has been talking to my daughter and had a plane ticket with her name, and he's ready to come get her.
I didn't see a purpose in life anymore. I just thought my life was over after that.
A dealer had reached out to our son on Snap and offered him a drug that had fentanyl in it, and he died. 300 people are dying every day from fentanyl poisoning, and most of it is delivered via social media.
Words cannot begin to express the profound sorrow I feel that a service we designed to bring people happiness and joy has been abused to cause harm.
And after being prodded, Meta's Mark Zuckerberg faced the families and apologized. There's been some recent backlash against the private companies. In New York City, Mayor Eric Adams classified social media as a public health hazard and, quote, an environmental toxin. That statement after the city's health commissioner reported that on school days, 77% of New York City high schoolers spend 3 or more hours per day in front of screens not doing homework. A bill before the legislature there would require parent approval for anyone under 18 to use algorithm-based feeds like TikTok and Instagram. It's a priority there for the governor and attorney general, according to the New York Times. And meanwhile, Montana outright banned TikTok. There's a lawsuit still playing out on that one. In Utah in March, they required children to get parental approval before creating an account on social media. Arkansas did something similar, but it was blocked by a federal judge. In Florida, the priority bill of the Speaker of the House there would ban any social media site that tracks users' activity for children, allowing them to upload media and interact with others. So that means pretty much all the major companies like Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. It would not impact apps for private messages like WhatsApp, iMessage, and others. It would require the companies to cancel accounts of children and, if a parent asks for it, delete past information. The bill passed the Florida House 106-13 with overwhelming bipartisan support. It still needs to pass the Senate and be signed by the governor there. Meta, the owner of Facebook and Instagram, told lawmakers that they were supporting requiring parental approval, but believe any action should come from Washington, D.C., not the states. A Meta representative wrote in part to the Florida House, Many teens today leverage the internet and apps to responsibly gather information and learn about new opportunities, including part-time jobs, higher education, civic or church gatherings, and military service. By banning teens under 16, Florida risks putting its young people at a disadvantage versus teens elsewhere.
Now we turn to Texas. A Republican state representative filed a bill last session to prevent minors from using social media. Representative Jared Patterson of Frisco joins us on the show. Thanks for being here, Representative.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So you filed that bill. It didn't pass. What's the appetite, you think, and what's the Texas appetite for a total ban?
Well, you know, that's a great question. You know, I mean, we've got to do something. Our kids are killing themselves at a greater clip than at any point in the history of our state. We have to do something. I am proud, though, that last session we took a big first step. Speaker Phelan had a priority bill, House Bill 18, known as the SCOPE Act, which did implement some parental controls on the social media applications, including on these algorithms that are, you know, that use artificial intelligence and machine learning products to better hook their users, including children. And so we took a big first step last session.
So why not, you want a total ban, right? You still want that. What about parental consent or permission from a parent to have a social media account? Would that be something you would be supportive of? Why a total ban, given that there are some good things about finding communities of interest, and you know, maybe you have a biology club or a church group or a music club?
Absolutely. I mean, look, there are good and bad things with a lot of things that we do in society, but I think that the bad so severely outweighs the good when it comes to social media. You know, we do a lot of things in Texas legally to protect the children's physical well-being, whether that's children can't buy tobacco products, children can't buy a handgun. But we don't do enough to protect their mental health. And so I think what I'm trying to do is to push this forward to put a child's mental health at the same level as their physical well-being.
So, you know, I reached out to the major companies. I haven't heard back from TikTok or X, what used to be known as Twitter. Did get a response, as you saw earlier, from Meta, who owns Instagram and Facebook. But to the general idea of, do we really want to limit these technologies because they seem to be the future of innovation, you know, jobs, you know, we're going to live in a more connected world. Sure. And do we want, you know, 17, 18-year-olds, those, I mean, they're almost adults. What do you think of that argument?
Yeah, I mean, look, I completely understand that argument. We're not saying that children can't be on the internet. We're not saying that children can't be connected in some form or fashion. But these products, you have to keep in mind, these products use these algorithms to hook children in. The Wall Street Journal did a study a couple of years ago where they registered as a 13-year-old on TikTok and were shown hundreds of videos about drugs, hundreds of videos about online paid pornography sites, hundreds of videos on things that are harmful to children. We've got to step up and protect the children from these invasive technologies that destroy their innocence.
Take us behind the curtain a little bit. I mean, these are powerful companies, some of the most, you know, well-funded in the country. They have a lot of lobbyists. They have a lot of lawyers. When you filed this bill last session, did you get a lot of pushback, and do you expect that? What does that look like?
Now, you know, I think what's most surprising is the arrogance of these companies. They refuse to show up in a committee hearing to provide testimony. They send their big national conglomerate companies that even represent companies like Airbnb that have nothing to do with social media to come and answer questions that they don't have the information to answer. We did ultimately start meeting with a couple of these companies that came forward to meet with me in my office and other legislators. But quite honestly, it's the arrogance that you see. They've been proven to lie before Congress. They were back in front of Congress here recently. You know, unfortunately, I don't think that Congress is really ever going to do anything, but, you know, we need them to step up.
Last question real quick before we let you go. Would you support this being on the interim call?
Oh, 100%. I would. And I think Speaker Phelan has shown through his judgments of what bills were priorities last session and what we got passed, that protecting children is a priority for the Texas House.
State Representative Jared Patterson, thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
The state's top cop is a step closer to facing a public trial. Coming up, another development in the whistleblower lawsuit against Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. And happening tomorrow, a vote on a bipartisan immigration bill, what it could mean for the battle at the border.
Another week, that means another development in the legal battles involving Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton.
A Travis County judge denied Paxton's request to decide the whistleblower case without a jury. That decision follows Paxton's announcement that he won't contest the case. And it also means Paxton may be questioned on the record and in open court about allegations that he fired 4 employees turned whistleblowers.
Although the Attorney General is saying they won't contest the facts in our lawsuit, they're still actively denying them. And so they can't have it both ways. And another key difference between that impeachment trial and this proceeding is that a civil litigant's use of the Fifth Amendment can lead to an inference that whatever they don't want to testify about is bad.
So Paxton was scheduled to be deposed in the case last Thursday, but that was put on hold when the Texas Supreme Court issued an order delaying them and giving the parties until February 29th to respond with broader legal arguments. That was also after pressure from the former president. Former President Trump publicly called for the Texas Supreme Court to end what he called politicization and abuse of our justice system. The court director of public affairs told us in response, quote, "The Supreme Court of Texas is committed to an independent judiciary. The court follows standard procedures in all cases, and its decisions are based on the requirements of the law." Meanwhile, Austin Democrat Sarah Eckhart and North Texas Republican Senator Drew Springer called for the Senate impeachment trial to be reopened based on Paxton's decision not to fight the lawsuit. Turning now to developments involving the debate at the border. Tomorrow, the Senate Majority Leader in D.C. is expected to force a vote on a bipartisan deal that would enact more strict U.S. immigration and asylum laws. The bill needs 60 votes to break a filibuster in the Senate. But first, later today, more than a dozen governors, including Governor Abbott, will join border officials in Eagle Pass to discuss the record number of migrants crossing into the U.S. illegally. Now, Abbott argues the Biden administration should not allow anyone to cross without going through the proper channels at the ports of entry. North Texas Congressman Mark Vesey is here to preview the path ahead. He represents District 33, which includes Fort Worth. He joins us this morning. Thanks for being here, Congressman.
Good to be with y'all.
All right, Congressman, as you know, immigration and border security is the topic of the day. If a compromise bill gets to the House on immigration and border security, I know you're hearing some of the details about it. Will you be supportive of it?
I am certain that if we can get a bipartisan deal done, that I'm going to be for it. I've been waiting for this and working towards this, God, since I was a freshman member of Congress back in 2013. And I remember the group that included the former congressman, now the late Congressman Sam Johnson out of Collin County. He was a part of that group that was working on getting a plan together. And we thought we were going to have a deal. And unfortunately, it just all blew up at the end. And of course, when George W. was president, Rush Limbaugh and talk radio, right-wing talk radio, killed that deal. And so there's always something. But I just want to tell Channel 5 viewers out there and everyone that, look, unless you're about the political games that are taking place, you should be calling your member of Congress and telling them to vote for this bill. It will drastically reduce the amount of undocumented crossings that we're seeing daily. There is no 5,000 person allowable limit that's being let in. Republican senator from Oklahoma has said that much. And this is going to be a good deal. It's going to be good for our country. It's going to be good for people that are being worried about being separated from their families. And we need to get this done.
Now, Representative, the bill won't have a path to citizenship for people who are in this country without authorization. I know there are things about Dreamers that you wish it would be in there. So you would support this proposal even though it wouldn't have those things that you want in it?
I have been a strong supporter of a pathway to citizenship. Anyone that's ever migrated to this country has had the opportunity eventually to become citizens. And so that's what I want for everyone. Okay. But what I also want is for people to not have the fear and anxiety of being separated from their loved ones And when I go around the 33rd Congressional District in Fort Worth and Dallas and Irving, Grand Prairie, what people are telling me is that they can't handle the anxiety anymore. They don't want to be separated. They don't want to be deported. They want to continue to make contributions to this country in the areas of oil and gas production, in the areas of agriculture production, hospitality, serving school lunches, no matter what it may happen to be.
So that's more important to you than sorry to cut you off, but so that's more important to you, and you would support the bill. But we're going to move on to the budget, right?
Well, one more quick follow-up on the border. You know, the Republicans argue that, look, we shouldn't allow anybody in this country if they don't come through the legal process at a ports of entry. I mean, just what are your thoughts on that idea, that argument?
I think that Republicans are again just playing games. That is an argument that they've crafted. But of course, it's been the business community that they've worked with hand in hand for decades now that has benefited from this. And now that same community is saying we want to get something done, but the Republicans would rather keep the chaos at the border so they will have some sort of political narrative to weave. And what they're saying to me just doesn't make any sense at all. And we need to get something passed. And so I would tell them that they need to work with us. It will be good, not just for Democratic districts, but for Republican districts and blue states and red states. But getting something done should be what everyone is focused on, and not silly talking points like that.
And so moving on to the budget negotiations, Congress has just been kind of doing continuing resolutions, keeping the status quo. A lot of programs are on hold because of that, right? So there's a program here in North Texas that you helped become reality, which is kind of discounts for internet providers in people's homes. That's somewhat in limbo. That's one of the many projects in limbo. So on the budget, what do you think is the path forward for that program, but really any additional program?
Yeah, affordable connectivity program. That's something that I worked very hard on to get into the bipartisan infrastructure plan that's passed. And now we have thousands and thousands of low-income residents here in the North Texas area, including in the district that I serve, that have internet and broadband in their homes. It's allowing them to do homework inside of their houses, start a business, many things. And we need to keep that going. As of February the 7th, you won't be able to sign up for that program anymore because we haven't appropriated more money. And it's rural districts in this country, red districts, that have signed up the most. And so Republicans ought to want to pass a real budget so we can get things like that funded. Also here in the North Texas area, defense, CRs are terrible for defense. I don't think that most people understand that. And for all of our workers, the 100,000 or so workers that work at the larger contractors and at the subcontractors here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, whenever we are working and on a CR, when it comes to defense spending, it just throws everything at the DOD completely out of whack, and it gives Beijing time to catch up with us. The longer we stay in a CR, the more and more that just benefits Beijing. No one is rooting for us to stay on a CR more than Xi and Beijing is doing.
Real quick, in 10 seconds or so, but do you have any hope that we're going to get off this CR and we're going to get an actual full budget, or no?
I don't have hope that we're going to get off the CR. I think that the Republicans have shown that they would rather play politics. Most of these reckless, radical Republicans now in their conference are calling the shots. And I think that Johnson is just a super weak speaker. And I don't think that he has the ability to get his team in shape so we can get something passed. Now, of course, if he wanted to, he could stop playing politics and he could say, from here on out, I'm going to work with Democrats in a bipartisan fashion to get something done. They're not going to get rid of a speaker again. That's not going to happen, particularly in an election year. So he has more leverage than he thinks. He just needs to find the courage.
U.S. Representative Mark Vesey, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Great to see y'all.
The backing of high-profile state leaders wasn't enough to get their preferred candidate in office. What does this mean for the so-called revenge tour and the March 5th primary election? We'll talk about it next on Lone Star Politics.
By a razor-thin margin, Jill Dutton won the right to serve out the term for State House District 2.
Dutton defeated Brent Money in the special election runoff. This despite Money's high-profile backers, including U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, Governor Greg Abbott, and Attorney General Ken Paxton. He had a lot of the big names, but he didn't get the win.
He didn't get the win. She won in the special election, which is much different than a primary. So they're going to have to run this back March 5th for the GOP primary for the next term that starts in 2025.
They just keep going.
Yeah.
A reminder, the Texas primary does happen March 5th. Like Romer said, the deadline to register is tomorrow. That's all the time we have. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back here next Sunday.